today we'll talk about, there are a lot of AI tools out there which is available. In that, how does it focus on developer journey as well as post-production journey? What are the different capabilities there? If you look at the AI-assisted tools today, there are lots in the market. GitHub Copilot, Codium, Cody, there are like 12 products are out there, right? We're not going to go into specific tools which are available, but what we are going to spend time is to see what are the capabilities at an industry level which is evolving in all these tools, which will help in the developer productivity, right? That's the focus of this one. The idea is, can it give back developers few hours? Now, after listening to Ken's talk, I'm going to see this is going to be one interesting session. We'll see how it goes. So, the first one is code explanation, right? If you look at it, if you're a developer who is working on a legacy code, the first thing what you will want is, let's say you're touching a legacy code, either you want to modify the code or you want to know what the code does so that you can go make changes in the latest one. The first thing what you look for is, hey, is there any documentation available for the legacy code to understand? Most of the time you may not have, or even if you have one, you may not have an up-to-date information on that. The next thing what you will do is, hey, can I go ask a developer who understands this base of it, right? That's the second part. Whenever you are depending on a developer, there is going to be a significant hit on your developer productivity because the person may not be available whenever you want it. So I was thinking, is there a possibility, a tool, which is an AI-assisted tool, if you give a legacy file and say, give me a gist of what this file does, you'll be very surprised. It will give you a very simple English, details about what that file does fully. That is actually good enough for a 70%. It won't be giving you 100% obviously, but that is a good enough start for you to go into the code. Otherwise, you won't have any idea what this tool does, right? Or this file does. So this can actually significantly improve your productivity because it will give you a full gist of it. Comment to code is one interesting one. Let's say you're coding today. You've been doing some coding and you realized, hey, I want to have some utility. The utility can be sorting utility, searching utility, or any functions that you want to write in. What you will normally do, if you're using Java, you will say, hey, does Java provide this utility? If it is there, you go ahead and pick it up. If Java doesn't give in, then you will have to go search for some external library, or you start with searching in the internet to figuring out what to do. Here comes the interesting, right? This actually, I went and tried this one and it works like really fabulous. If you write a decent prompt of a recursive function, any particular thing, and you ask the AI assistant code to generate the code, it actually generates it very cleanly for you. So now you might have to, this is where I agree with Ken is, you have to end up writing a proper unit testing for this one to validate that this one works very good. That's the most important part of this one, right? So the next one is DB changes. Most of the time when you make a DB changes, it's very normal as part of your day-to-day job that you make DB changes and you change code. How often have you ended up finding that you are changing a database file, DB table, which has been a legacy for a very long time, consumed across the applications, but nobody has touched the table. And now you ended up adding a field to the table, assume. The amount of effort you will end up spending to go figure out every touch point that this table has in is actually significant. You might have to go through a lot of documentation, you might have to search through the entire code base, or you will have a lot of senior developers who will end up doing it. This is actually one of the amazing things I saw. So in the AI Assist one, if you open the DAO file and you say, hey, I want to add a field to this table, give me every touch point of the file in my repo, which I have to go ahead and change. You'll be super surprised. It gives you a complete list of everything in your repo that it has to touch in. The idea is same here. The idea is this is a starting point. What we are trying to tell you here is, we're not trying to tell, hey, it can change the developer and this can do everything. No, we're trying to say, can it bring your productivity up? Can it save a few hours for you? That's the goal of this one. And this is the starting point on which you take and you start making changes. Unit testing. This actually, I was trying multiple options. You write a simple application, you allow the AI Assist to generate the unit testing. It generates fabulously good. Actually, it generates so good. the branch coverage and the line coverage is like almost 95%. Then I said, let me write a very complex one to see what it happens. Actually, for the complex code also, it does a pretty good job of a coverage, more than 90% and pretty good coverage. Where I saw this was super helpful is, I don't know how many of you have operated on a legacy code base. Let's say if you're working on a legacy code and you're trying to refactor the legacy code. Those days when I used to be a developer and doing this job, the first thing is, because it doesn't have any testing, we ended up writing the testing first fully, and then we ended up refactoring. And this was a very, very time-consuming process which sucked in developer productivity drastically. Here the AI Assist tool, what it can help you is, if you give a legacy file and say, hey, go ahead and generate the unit test for this one, a significant of the unit test with a very, very complex code base you can give in. Actually, this will do like 80-90% of the job. So that's a good starting point for you to go ahead and move in. This works very, very amazing. It works for a new code also. But there is one thing which I want to be very careful is, you don't allow the AI to generate the code as well as the AI to write the test. Don't do that. That's a big mess. You have to have, and the idea overall here is also, we're not trying to tell, hey, it will replace, because I'm a strong believer where nobody can write, a system cannot write better code than what a developer writes. And that's true. How much ever you go through, it's the pattern what it has seen in, based on that it can be leveraged. But the best part about this is, actually there are seen enough patterns in life. How AI Assist can help in code review. See, if you're a junior developer and you're writing code today, right? And now you want to review it, what do? So you have to wait for a senior developer to come and review your code. But there is a time dependency. The senior developer may not be available, or you might need multiple iterations. In this, your productivity can take a hit. Let's say you have an AI assist says, hey, run this code for me and give me all the code smells. And it lists you every code smell which is in that code, and it also tells you what is a fix for this code smell. Isn't that super useful if you're a junior developer? For a senior developer, it doesn't matter because you most probably know that what is a code smell when you're writing it. But this for a junior developer can do multiple iterations of this to get a clean one. But the idea also here is, it is not going to replace an actual code review process. It is going to bring it to a clean code where the developer feels, now it is ready for me to do an actual review. And it significantly improves productivity in this journey, right? The next one is vulnerability. When I used to be a developer, whenever we write a code and we say, hey, we need a security review, there's an exclusive security team which is out there, which will come and do an extensive review for us. And it's very difficult to find the time of the security people to come and do a review because it can be very, very time consuming and you might need a multiple iterations. The AI assisted ones have improved so much, you can explicitly say, hey, I want to run a vulnerability check for this particular file, can you do it? The last one which I ran, it was telling it, hey, this particular package that you're consuming at this version has this vulnerability flaw and it has been fixed in the 2 versions later, consume that. That beautifully it will tell you. So the idea here, this one is even useful for a senior developer, right? How often you know whichever package that you're consuming is actually having a security problem. You may not know. So here also the same thing. You finish this test, vulnerability test, and then go for a security review. So the idea is that will increase the productivity. It's not going to replace, for sure. The last one more I want to tell you. This is the best feature I loved of all. This is a scalability test, actually. So if you're a developer and you write a service A, and service A calls service B, and this is a sync block call, assume you're having it. So when you run this one and say scalability, and you say, hey, tell me any scalability problem in this file. You know what the AI assist will tell you? It will tell you actually, hey, you have a sync call over here. So if your traffic goes up and B is going to respond after a very, very long time, you will have a serious scaling problem. So go ahead and implement a circuit breaker over here and come out. That was out of the world for me. It actually gives you this detail. And not only just this one, it will tell you every place, even if you have a query, it will tell you that, hey, go change this one, it can have a scalability hit. Here also is the same thing. How often in a code review, you catch this much detail? So you end up running this test, clear out the first level from your side, and then go for a review. So this is some of the things which I want to give. There is a gamut of features it is having. The idea is to give you a flavor of it, so you folks start using it. So now where is the industry going? The industry is evolving is, hey, if I give you a spec little detail, can I do auto scoping, auto dev, auto review, and auto fix? In each of the code review, the AI assist tool will tell you this is the problem and this is the actual way. And this is a good segue for me to tell in Atlassian what we are doing. Atlassian, in all these 4 tracks, it is doing multiple features that we are launching in. And in our annual event, yearly annual event, we run Team. And this year it's Team 24, which we run in Las Vegas, where we have all of our product launches and our customer meets happens. We are announcing all the different features in these 4 tracks across our product lines. So stay tuned if you want to know what all is happening in these 4 tracks from Atlassian products. The next one is post-production journey. This is a quite interesting one, right? So now that you're done with dev, you're pushing the code to production. Now, what does a developer waste time, right? Whenever in the middle of the night an alert comes in and on-call support, you keep supporting for a long time. Or you're spending your weekends. Sometimes the bug an alert can consume a lot of time, hours or sometimes even days. Can an AI assisted tool help you in this journey? That's a very critical one. Let's say what happens. You get an alert first. What's the first thing you do in this one? You go ahead and check the logs, right? It can be any log aggregator, you'll do it. Here, if you are very good at a log aggregator, you might spend few minutes. But if you are new to the application or new to the log aggregator, you might spend hours in this one. Let's say for the given alert, how do you even know exactly which chunk of the log aggregator to even grab it? And here, let's say the industry is evolving in a way, given an alert, it will exactly give you a snippet of the log aggregator that you need to look at it. This is the exact log what is needed. And the next one is, now that you have identified, we'll take one use case here. Let's say you have a problem service A and you call a B, which is the downstream service. And you're getting an error from B. The problem that you will have is, you exactly don't know whether B is throwing the problem or something downstream to B is throwing a problem. To finding out this is not very easy. It is very difficult and the developer can spend an umpteen amount of time on this one. Where does AI assist or AI helps in this journey? If this alert has historically happened, that is very critical because it has to understand the pattern. If it has historically seen this, it will be able to narrow down to a greater extent. The idea is it will not be 100%, but the idea what we are telling is it will boost your productivity. Given an alert, it will give you the snippet of the log, what you have to look at it, and it will actually point you the exact system what it has pointed to before. The idea here is all of the alerting and the incident management you are managing in one tool. That's very critical. Now, even if you have identified a particular system which is coming in, the most difficult thing next is, whom do we assign? Who's the responder for this? That is also very difficult. Sometimes we keep on chasing, calling the team and figuring out, hey, is there an incident running on this one or not? Here, based on the same thing, it's a very simple historical pattern matching one. It finds out, hey, there was an incident before and this system was responsible and this was the first responder on my alerting product last time. Similarly, it goes and assigns it. The idea what we are telling is, as a developer, when I started in, I used to always use VI as an editor. So I always think VI was one of the fabulous editors were there. Then when I went to an IDE, every time I start debating to myself, hey, this VI actually does most of the things what this IDE does. Why should I go? Why should I go? It took quite a long time for me to embrace that IDE has lot more capability and lot more usability, which helps my productivity go a lot faster compared to VI. It took a long time. I think this AI is the same way because before this one, I was a strong believer and AI may not be able to do much. As a developer, I have a lot of control. The idea here is the capability has improved so much, it's like a pair programming person sitting next to you, helping you to speed up the journey. That's the whole journey of this one. So if you have any questions, we'll be definitely able to catch you folks in our booth, in Atlassian booth. Thank you.